Hi, Pam.
I was just going into the other link.
I know, and
I got your message.
It wasn't working. It wasn't working on my end. It's like it wasn't scheduled anymore for some reason. So I just did it again, and I'm glad you saw that. Here I am.
Well, it was a bit odd because it went straight to the link didn't work properly, but it was asking me for the meeting passcode just as you sent me the message.
Right. So yeah, I tried to log in and it said it was an invalid meeting ID. Oh. I'm like, okay. And it said I had no meeting scheduled for today, which isn't true. I think I might have milk mustache. Yeah. Oh, I just had some breakfast.
I've just had my dinner.
I bet. So we had a really great week, and I'm excited.
With me breaking it all the time, yeah.
Well, no, and everything that you've talked about, Sean's addressing starting on Monday.
Good.
So and again, when you were checking, you saw the contest tick off at midnight.
Yeah.
I had extended the entries. Okay, there's two different settings for the contest. There's the automation, which is the day it starts and the time it starts and the day it ends and the time it ends. Then there's another set of time settings that is for allowing entries and allowing editing of your entries. So
right,
if I don't have it set correctly, when I end the judging, the private judging, it'll still ask us, you can still enter. That's why the enter button remained.
Right.
And I found out that if I don't set it a day early for the allowing entries from the day of it ending, then it's not right. So again, it's my settings, and you know, the whole thing about the video link is supposed to be required, and it's
right.
Sean confirmed that after we tested on Friday morning, or it would have been afternoon for you. When we tested then, I emailed them right away when we got out of our meeting so that maybe we could catch them before Friday. And they did respond and said that the video link is supposed to be required. He was wondering if you had refreshed your cache. Honey, you got to look, hold on. I got to help Jeff because it's a new meeting.
I'll go and get a drink of water.
Okay. See, this meeting was set up and there's two people waiting and I didn't even know that. Okay, admit. Admit. Okay, joining now.
Hi, Leo.
Hi.
Sorry for making you guys wait. This is a new meeting, so the settings are not exactly what I want them to be. Let's see. Enable.
Hello.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to disable the waiting room, so everybody should be able to get in now. Oh, I had to quick set up a new meeting because I went in and clicked on it to start it, and it said it was an invalid meeting ID. So it was supposed to be.
I was just about.
You were just.
I was just about typing the last parts of the words in for the other meeting, right. And then bling, the other thing came up.
So was I. Yeah, yeah, I was too.
Okay, now I did send it to Lori. And I think that let's see if she saw that. Yes, she did. So she should be here shortly. Anyway, thanks for coming again. You guys did some good
I enjoy
testing.
This.
You guys did some great testing this week.
Quite good fun, although I feel quite bad when I do the emails back saying, well, I did this, but.
Well, yeah. Yeah, okay, back to what I was saying to you, Pam. He said that it's possible that you're loading an old cache and maybe you have cleared your cache.
All the time.
Okay.
I was clearing everything. I was closing the browser. I was doing all sorts of things.
And so which browser are you using?
I'm using Edge.
Edge.
Windows 10.
Ah.
But out of interest, I went in after Leo said, you're living with the old style, aren't you? Windows 7.
Yes.
But you said about Chrome. So what I did, I actually shut down the Edge session and then opened up a Chrome session and, you know, copied the URL in, went in on that, but I got exactly the same results. But by then, of course, I was trying to edit those two that aren't updating like they should.
Well, now they might not have. Okay. I just wonder if there was a coincidence in my changing settings when you were trying to update, because I had just gotten up in the morning and you would maybe just, you know, I don't know.
No, I'd done it before that.
Okay.
Because, well, it's the timing. When I sent that the email saying that I couldn't do the updates.
Okay.
It depends when that came through.
So the updates.
I've tried about 3 or 4 times.
So have you guys ever used that screen recorder that's free, Screencast?
No.
Okay, and Leo, you haven't been having any problems, really?
I didn't have any problems. The only thing, like I said, on the site, the numbers of the pictures didn't show up. So I didn't see those numbers.
Uh-huh.
And then when I went to, you know, like, and that was basically the only thing. I did notice.
When you say the numbers didn't show up, do you mean in the entry form when when you're uploading them?
Right. Used to say it'd come down and say, you know, you have picture, it'd say picture 1, picture 2. It didn't show any numbers. There were times that it would show like picture 1 wouldn't have a number, but 4 and 5 would, and then the rest wouldn't. But this last time we did it, no numbers showed up, but the pictures showed up. And I noticed, because the something that Pam said about the order wasn't right, so I removed all my pictures, and I went to where I'm capturing my pictures from, and I noticed that they were in the order that they were in my folder. So I rearranged the folder to put the pictures where I wanted, and then captured them all, dropped it in, and they went in just like I wanted them to go in.
Okay, I'm just.
I've shut everything down.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Now, when I grabbed the pictures, it would say picture 1, 2, 3, 4, but when I dropped them in the box, it just dropped them in and didn't have any numbers on that, the site that we were looking at.
Okay. I'm updating the Zoom meeting info.
Beta 5 has finished now, hasn't it?
Not yet. Not yet. And it's running. In fact, I might extend that out. We've got 20 minutes. I was kind of hoping to get Lori in here to be a voter too. And I don't know if...
Well,
I did vote.
It stopped running on mine. It's not running.
Oh, I haven't looked at mine. I'll look at it.
Right now it says I have 19 minutes left, so it should show you having 19 minutes left as well, Pam, the way that Sean said.
No, and I
fixed
enter
it.
contest has gone.
Okay, let me try something here.
And this is for the beta 5 test, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go to those settings I was telling you about. Edit.
Hi, Lori.
Hello.
Oh, she's there. Good.
Sorry about the confusion.
Mine doesn't show any time. I don't see a clock at all on mine.
Snap.
Hold on here. Oops, there we go. Contest details. Contest automation. Contest starts on, yes. Goes till 11:30. I'm going to extend it. That's weird, kind of weird. And extend it to 12:30.
Oh, Lori's entered hers now.
Pardon me?
Lori's entered hers now. Her moose. The moose has appeared. There's a moose loose.
Yeah.
There's a moose loose.
Okay, now control
But it
R.
let me enter with 5 entries.
Okay, now will you guys refresh your test 5?
Okay, I see 17 minutes.
I see 1 hour and 17 minutes. So you're Eastern time?
Yep.
And Pam?
I don't see any time at all.
Okay. All right. So.
I see 2:17, so we're good on that.
So, okay. So now Sean said something in his email that I'll read to you guys because maybe I misunderstood what he said about the time. He said, now yesterday I noticed that I was in Mountain Time on our website. He says it goes by the WordPress date and time zone. So I went and looked at that and I was like, Mountain, and that's not what, I'm in Central. So I switched it to UT 7, I think it was, which is like Chicago. And now the time was right when it was showing for me and how much time was left in the contest. So then Sean, then we had, I talked about how the time zones were kind of screwed up for everybody and the contests were ending willy-nilly, which wasn't really willy-nilly, but so what he said was that he said that, where is that one? Sorry, he did several answers and they all look the same. All right. Okay, he said, to show you how to record screen videos so that when you have issues, he can see exactly what's happening. But when I was talking about the date controls, he said that the date controls and exactly the date changes. And that's when we can have entries, new entries, and when we are able to actually edit the entry. But it says it'll change at 12 a.m. when it changes to the next day. So if I set it on, okay, if it's set at 12 a.m. on the 5th of the month, the 5th day, then does that mean at 12 a.m. on the 6th it ends? I mean, it's kind of hard to understand. And he said he checked the Google, he checked the code, and the server UTC said it can Google UTC time, that he changed this to use the WordPress site time zone. So right now I have this time zone set at Chicago. I do, not him, on your site. So this will be the reference time zone for the contest around the world. When on the Chicago time zone, the date changes, and that happens to be the expiration of any of these two settings, it will expire consistently at this time zone, no matter where your contestants are from. I will have this code change deployed with the new project. Okay. All right. So that's what's going on. This was something that we brought up and is in the list of updates that's going to start happening on the 8th, on Monday. So that's why it didn't work, because it's still screwed up when it comes to the time zone thing, okay? So let's ignore that part of it. I'm going to set the time out a little further so that, like, I'll go 7 hours so that Pam should show maybe an hour left. And then, then you can vote and everybody else can vote. And then I'll switch it back to this time zone, and it should be, everything should be done. I had hoped to see it for all of us watching at the same time, see it time out today. That was, and see what happens. I mean, does the winners page come up and then it shows the judges vote and the public vote like we've seen in the past? Because we've kind of forced it by showing the winners, which is a separate setting we're not supposed to really touch anymore. So, so our contest is running really well. He's going to, when it talks about the video link, now this is what he said about that. I said, the video link when enabled should make it a required field. We were surprised to be able to submit entries with the video link turned on and no video link submitted. There's no way to turn off or on the requirement of a video link. He said, it is required now, and I have demoed this several times. The code will require but accept any valid string. If they entered any text in there, not a video link, it would accept it. I just added code enforcing a valid URL, not any regular text in there. If there is anything recorded in a video that can show issues, the better. So he's talking about a screenshot by one of us or making an entry and not putting in a video link, and he wants to see what happens. Seeing this on video would make me troubleshoot it better. I will release this update with the next project update. So he's kind of saying that there is an issue going on, or acknowledging it. So there's an update to be done with the next project update. He said that he's already aware that if you drag and drop multiple photos at the same time, the numbering code misses numbering photos. I will address this issue on the upcoming update. Now, I, using Mozilla Firefox, have not seen any issue with going in, or actually going in and reordering my photos. The numbers have always been the same. Like, I used to load them in even though they weren't in the same order. If I grabbed them all at once and dropped them in, they wouldn't be in the order that I wanted them to be in. So I would drag and drop them into the right order. And as I did that, the number changed every time correctly. So I wasn't experiencing the same problem you guys were having. And I never really tried without putting a video link in there, because I was so anxious to see the video link actually work and upload to our channel and see if it got masked off, which is really cool, I think, by the way, now that that's working.
What was really odd on beta 4 was when the video link just stopped going across. Literally in a 5-minute gap between my first entry and my second entry, videos stopped. The link stopped working. So I did 1 video up, 2, no video, 3, no video, and then Leo came along and did his 2, no videos. But we'd all put video links, valid video links, in. But then beta 5, i.e. yesterday, it worked fine, didn't it? All the videos popped in.
Well, okay. Now, what happened over the week? There was something that happened over the week. I told Sean what was going on with the videos, because like yours and Leo's in beta 4 were already showing your link to your YouTube page because the contest had ended. At least the private judging had ended, which leaves it so that people who are going to vote for you publicly could still go and see your video on your YouTube page or view it, within the entry. So, I wasn't sure why Lori's was masked and you guys's weren't. I think that might have had something to do with the automation and dating. Like you mentioned at the end of your email, you thought it could be something to do with that, which it turned out to be. So Sean emailed me back and said, well, we're going to have to do the whole Google thing again. And I'm like, what? That took forever. And I misunderstood. He meant that there was a code that I had to generate from a link he sent me, and then he took that generated code and he does something with it, and that activates it. So there was a password change after we got the API, and because I had Sean using his passcode to get in. And then he said, okay, everything's set up. Go ahead and change your passcode back to your thing, which he doesn't know that passcode. But what that did was it sent a message to Google saying they just, they got validated and authorized and they just changed their passcode. That's a red flag to them. And so that's why the video wasn't uploading the way it was supposed to.
Right.
So we got that taken care of. And that's why beta test 5 is working so well when it comes to that. Now, what I think is going to be the best thing to do, and I can show you why, if I go into a screen share, let me get to where I want to be. And
I'm getting all these beta tests screwed up in my mind. Which one's which?
Yeah, I should name them something a little bit differently.
That's why I changed the order of
your
putting
photo.
my birds in.
I did that
on
same
5.
thing. Yeah.
So that I could tell which was which.
So let me share this screen. It's the show all windows. That's half my problem is I have so many. There it is. All right. Share. So this is inside of the Wildfowl Carving Championships channel and the dashboard here.
Right.
So what I did was I created a playlist for the beta test 4. So let's say we've got the judges like you guys here, and we go into to the playlist here. So every entry has the entry number for the title. And then if you look at the description of it, if you actually click on the video itself, in the description, it says contest ID 2241. So I can search 2241, which is the division basically, and put all of those videos into a playlist. And I've turned the sound off so that,
good.
so that, it's not, let me get rid of this thing here. So nobody hears any sound anymore, and if they want to, we can escape from the full screen and then review whatever video, and there was sound on this one too. So I think that's a really old video, which isn't very high quality video, but it was short enough. So
it just
I think that's going to be really useful in the judging, is to be able to we'll have all of these playlists for every one of these divisions created as the videos come in. And it's not something that we have to do. We have to wait until the day. They can be, done on a daily basis and things like that, put into a playlist. Yeah. So
it'll make it much easier.
Right. And until the judges voting is over, the private judging, nobody's going to see a link to a video. It's if you
now, does that keep it off of the YouTube channel too?
No, it's on our YouTube channel. Someone could go and look at that if they wanted to.
Right.
And there will be all these playlists so that even the public, if somebody else wanted to look at all the flotation of all the ducks in that division, they'd be able to do that.
Because I know that's how I seen mine. I didn't know where I was looking to see the videos on the site. So I just went to my YouTube channel to look at it.
Okay, but
I'm looking at the entries. So at the entry page, I'm clicking on each bird and seeing how many pictures there are, and the video is there as well on mine.
Yes, yeah, on mine too. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the difference, if it's got an entry number for the title and not your title, that's Ruddy Duck or Green Winged Teal Hen or Black Duck, then that means it's looking at the video on your YouTube channel, which it's supposed to do once we're done with private judging. It switches it over, doesn't remove the masked videos, and it doesn't put the name back on those videos on our YouTube site, but that doesn't really matter. It was really only there for the judging, because now everybody can go and look at your video with your name and hear the sound in the background if you want, and it won't matter because it's a public vote, and we do want them to know who it is they're voting for. So.
Right.
Well, on mine, on both 4 and 5, I didn't realise, as both 4 and 5 are finished on mine, I'm seeing my title. But I obviously I can't remember, well, I didn't notice while the contest was still running whether that video had the mask link or not. I'll know to look for our next test.
Right. Now I'm going to go and.
Yeah, on 4, mine didn't work at all. Even though I entered the video, my video did not work at all.
But I did see your video.
Yeah, and
it did get uploaded to our.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm looking at 4 right now on my other computer, because that's the thing. When we did this, it didn't work, so I didn't worry about it because you started the 5 right away, and I entered in 5. And when I entered 5, that's when I seen my video. Right now, I don't see, when I look at my entry, I don't see the video in 4 at all.
Okay.
Because in between my first one and my second one, the video upload stopped working.
Okay.
For some reason. So my first one had a video, but my next 2 didn't, and yours came after my next 2.
Yeah, because I can see your video. Yours, I looked at your Ready Duck. It has a video in test 4.
But then if you look at the Kestrel, which is the next one, it hasn't got a video, even though it did have a video.
Yep, you're right. Yep.
What the heck?
It was literally like a switch was thrown in that 5-minute gap between putting the first one up and putting the second one up.
Okay, so.
And that's why I thought maybe Lori was working on it when she started the 5 and got all that bug figured out. That's why my video showed up in 5 and not in 4.
Okay, Pam, would you please try to refresh test 5? It should show a couple of hours.
I have refreshed test. Oh, it's running again.
Yep, it should show a couple of hours for you, I think.
1 hour, 56 minutes and 50 seconds going down.
Perfect. Okay.
But you can't enter anything.
Nope.
Now, what should it
have already voted. So we're in public voting mode.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Right.
So if you haven't voted yet,
I have. Oh, not in this one, no.
In number 5, I'll get everybody to vote, and I'm not going to vote because it won't work.
Now I got a question. If she's got hers up right now to be able to vote, what about us? Because on mine, it says it stopped at 1 second. I've already voted, but my clock has stopped.
Just do can you hit your control key and the R key at the same time?
Control R, yeah.
Mine says 8 hours.
Now I have 6 hours and
there you go.
But I've already voted, so I can't vote again.
What you just did is called a hard refresh, Leo.
Okay.
So sometimes
something new.
Sometimes if you use the little refresh button, it's not quite as
Leo, I wish I had a pair of those buttons myself.
Hard refresh.
Yeah, me too.
I have voted. I have now voted.
Myself, yes.
Okay. And Jeff, have you voted?
I'm not, because I didn't want to tax our internet.
Oh no, you go ahead. You go ahead and vote.
So Control R was a hard refresh, you said?
Yep.
I'm writing that down so I can remember that hopefully somewhere.
Another really useful, two things that are really useful is when you highlight something and you want to copy it, you know, so you can paste it somewhere else. Do you do that ever? Yep. If you highlight it and you hit Control C, it'll copy whatever's highlighted. And then you take and put your cursor wherever you want to paste it and hit Control V and it pastes it in. Very helpful.
And if you want to delete it, you do Control X.
If you want to do what?
Delete it.
Yes.
They're all together on the keyboard.
Right. So, and Lori, did you vote? Oh, silent one. Your hair looks really nice.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So purple.
Change up.
So,
so when you do that, are you going to only see your vote? Since everybody says they voted, I only see the one I voted for that says one vote.
Well, did you refresh your page yet? Control R.
Yeah.
I see.
A couple times. Okay, now I see more votes.
Right.
I can only see 3 votes.
I see.
We should see 4. If Jeff is voting.
No, not yet.
Maybe.
Are you logging in?
Jeff hasn't voted yet.
Yeah, I want to see 3 votes too.
Yeah, that's because Jeff hasn't got there yet.
Yeah,
He's
I see 3.
in.
He's making faces at the computer.
Do you need a little help there?
Might.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Jeff, I think you do it deliberately to make her run up and down stairs.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Where are you? Okay. And then go to our... Okay. Then you should be logged in. I'm sure you did not log out. So go contest. Okay.
You okay, Laurie?
Yep.
You're very quiet.
No, I'm fine. I'm just whispering to myself. Oh,
no, the other one.
The other Laurie.
Okay, he's on there now.
Making notes. Thank you.
Yes, we've had okay. So now Jeff should be able to vote. I'm going back to here. Over here. One. 2, 3. So did you vote yet? Excuse me. Did you vote yet, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm voting now.
Okay. Oops. Here. All right. Let's see here.
So how many do you vote for?
Well, you can only vote for one. So I see 4 votes now. Perfect. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to end the contest. But I'm not going to end it by changing the contest status, because we're going to, let's see, we're going to change it to, we'll just go to my time, our time. Damn.
Just a question, since looking at it, I see the 4 votes now too, and each of us voted for something different. What if that happens in the real contest and it's a tie?
We're gonna find out, aren't we?
Okay.
Out of that. That's a good question. Okay, I made it so it's gonna end in like about a minute. So it should be already done for Pam. It should be done for Leo. It won't be done for Lori for
8 hours.
On the 45th minute.
Yep, it's done.
Okay.
It's done for mine. Yeah.
All right. So, oh, wait a minute here. How do I do this here? Yeah. Okay. So, is it showing? Well, we'll just let it finish out here. It's got 3 minutes and 3 seconds here. And see, this is partially what I wanted to see happen. We're kind of having to fudge it into happening, but I want to see after we had a public vote, after we had the judging, because see, the private judging isn't going to be known to anybody until the contest ends, because we don't want the public influenced by the judges.
I have 2 minutes left. 2.5 minutes.
I have 1 hour left.
Oh.
You still have 1 hour. So I wonder what's going to happen in 2 minutes, if it's going to cut you off, Lori. This is part of the test.
WordPress's core code.
Yeah.
So whoever time zones should show whatever time zone they're in. No. Okay.
So, okay, we'll know in about 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes, what happens here. I'm just going to keep
all voted for something different.
I'm going to keep my browser. The countdown is counting down. You would think that any change wouldn't need a refresh, right?
Okay.
You know to follow me, but don't do anything yet. See, I want to see.
If it worked, if it worked for, say, if it's set up to shut off on your time zone, then shouldn't Pam's and mine still be running?
Yes, and that's what Sean says he's going to fix. He just didn't fix that yet. We identified it. He acknowledged it. I thought it was fixed and didn't understand what he was saying. And
I wonder if it's too hard to add something in it, like, because when Jeff made the comment about, the time, to put in there on the time that what that time is showing, you've got, 5 hours and whatever seconds, like Central Time.
In public voting before the contest.
Just whatever, yeah. Because then if you're in the East, you should know that you've got
this is Central.
An hour
okay, that's okay. That's really good.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because even Pam, where she's at, it would say Central Time and
Okay.
or whatever time, Central Time, Eastern Time, Pacific Time, whatever you want to have it at.
Okay, now
because then the person that, oh, go ahead.
I'm just going to say we got 5 seconds here, and what I'm hoping is going to happen is this page is going to refresh and show the winners and the public judging and the, okay, now it's just stuck on 1 second, which Leo, you've seen before, haven't you?
Yep, I've seen it twice. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to.
I have 59 minutes.
Okay, if I refresh. Okay, if I refresh. Yeah, if you refresh, Lori, what do you see?
Winner.
I'm purging the entire site, by the way.
Okay.
Now I refresh.
Now I see it.
I see awards.
I do too.
Winners selected by judges.
So it's almost, you know, the only way we could force this to be right is to use the latest time zone, which would be Pam's at this point, with of all the entries,
cool,
you know. So, but all the ribbons are there. The reason the third place ribbon wasn't there last week was because when you go, you have to select the place, then you select the image, and then there's a button you're supposed to click that says add, and all I was doing was saving the contest, and it was forgetting that I selected that ribbon. So that was my error and why that was missing. The other things that
Now I got.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I got a question. Just looking at this, where it has the votes for the judges, which we didn't see.
Yeah.
And then where it says the public, so now you've got first, second, and third.
Right.
And we know that on the sheet, because we've seen it, that it was tied.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, who voted for, on Pam's Ruddy? Who did you? Okay, you voted for that. The reason I was asking, because it just
I voted. I'm sorry. I voted for her interpretive. Sorry.
Okay, interpretive. Who voted for the Ruddy? Did you, Pam?
Yeah.
Okay, so like I said, I had voted like earlier today, before this meeting started, for the first place trophy, which is the brand. Pam did it second. Lori did it third. In a case of a tie, it just throws out Jeff's vote. It goes by the order that they were voted on.
Yeah, it looks like it, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
You need more.
So if there was a tie and I vote, let's say whoever
Who'd you vote
did
for,
the first,
Jeff?
The teal, Leo's bird.
So
that's fourth. We've only got it set up to
right. But
three.
what I'm saying is, in a case of a tie, there was a 3-way tie.
Okay.
It's going to just take whatever bird got right now. The way it looks, it's going to take whatever bird or carving got the first vote.
Or equally,
and I don't know if that's all bad. I guess.
Yeah, it's not. It's the public's not going to know.
It's not really.
Equally.
It doesn't really matter because the public's not going to know.
No.
That's true.
It's not accurate, though.
No. The other thing is that these 1, 2, 3 are actually also in the order that they were entered in the competition.
I wonder if that's a coincidence.
Yeah, I mean that's the one thing you'd have to look, because, like you said, like Lori Corbett said, that it's not accurate. So it makes me wonder if that's how it'll come up when you have even more people voting.
Okay.
Because so you can see which ones got votes.
Right.
You can see one vote for that one, because we know we can only vote once.
I would imagine that Sean's going to come back with it only starts ranking after there's more than one vote. It shows you've got one. Everybody's got one. The ribbons, you know, I don't know. Maybe we don't put the ribbons up for public voting.
I could put a badge up. I could make a badge.
But you see,
instead of you putting a ribbon in, I can make you a new badge.
I guess so.
People's choice.
But still,
yeah.
The only way we can know is if I go back and open it up again for public voting by changing the time. And then
we need another person to vote for.
No, but what we can do is I can log in as there's a couple extra user IDs I can log in under. And well, no, that won't work either because of the IP voting.
But nice to have a few more folks on board today.
Right now, you'd either have to get another person to come in and vote, you know, reset it up so it's still open, have another person vote from a different IP, or do a whole nother beta, which would be ridiculous.
But it still won't give us our answer because we don't have enough people. You know?
Well, that's what I said. You'd have to get another person.
Unless we only had 3 or 2 entries, and then, you know, there isn't a third or a fourth, and then, but then there could still be a tie.
No one's really going to know unless they look at the page before this when you're adding the votes and it said this particular carving got 4 votes, you know, this particular carving got 4 votes. Then those 2 people, if they see that, they're going to know that they were tied. But then somebody could ask, how did you have the tiebreaker?
So I wonder, you know, what happens is somebody, without naming any names, is going to say, well, I want to know how many votes I got. And how many that one got, and how many that one got. Why isn't that?
That doesn't matter.
I think they should just say, you know, we should have it if Pam's Ruddy got 2 votes and her interpretive got 2 votes, then it should say tie second place.
Well, yeah.
And that's got to be something Sean needs to do.
Yeah, and guess what?
Yeah.
It's going to cost more money.
I know.
And right now,
at an Ethereum bump.
Yeah. Isn't that wonderful? Mm-hmm. So what I'm going to do, just out of curiosity, because these ribbons kind of
not to interrupt you. Not to interrupt, but could you make on the screen where you're voting, just make it so you do not see if the bird's been voted on. It's a secret. Public is a secret vote too, because then you don't know if your bird got voted on. The public doesn't see if you're, you know, they know that if I vote, I know what bird I voted for. I only get 1 vote. But what's the reason to show that on the screen? Because now the public can say, well, look at this one's got 15 votes and this one only has 1. I'm going to vote for that 1 because I feel sorry or whatever. I know whose bird it is or whatever. They vote for it. But if you don't show those votes at all, you have no idea. And if it comes up in a tie, who cares?
So, and when it's like even at the World, we hear they announce it. Nobody says how many votes.
Yeah, you don't see
how many.
Right.
And nobody challenges and says, I want to see how many votes.
Right. You don't know who's voting for what. So if you take the numbers.
But we do want it to be an honest thing, you know, not just get rewarded or awarded to for the first entry or the first voted on entry.
Right.
So right now I'm going to have Sean take a look at what happens if there's a tie. I mean, really.
Yeah,
there could be a scenario
like said,
for ties.
And I understand, or you're saying you want to keep it honest, and I agree with you. But you could do it and say, well, we're going to keep it as honest as the software has it right now and just let it go where it goes. But if you eliminate them seeing which birds got voted on, that eliminates the worry about there being a tie.
So,
I mean, chances are there's probably not going to be a tie. I would think. I don't think it's, that it's going to be very rare that time.
Okay, so now there's the question. How important is it for us to have the winners selected by public votes for every single contest? I mean, every single division. I mean, it's important for the Ashley Gray Memorial because that is a people's choice, where we put up the number of entries, the first, second, and third of all the open and master divisions for people to vote on. And maybe we don't have the public vote for the regular.
For all the divisions.
Yeah. I don't see anything wrong with that. Just have it for the Ashley Gray Award, and that's it.
Because it does complicate things. What are you thinking, Lori?
About the same what you are.
Good. So, okay, now let me just see what happens if I do this, okay? I'm not going to change the time or anything, but what I'm going to do is go and turn off public voting and then save it. And then I'm going to see what shows. Control R. So I wonder if the contest has to be set up with no public. It has to be changed earlier on in this process for it to actually set up. So that means I'm going to need to do another test. Number 6. I'll change the name.
Not trying to be difficult, but it wouldn't surprise me if there was more than one other test yet to come.
Well, and there's going to have to be. There will have to be.
There may be more after this too. Who knows? Let's hope not.
Yeah.
Because I can see 2 Loris that are going to be pulling their hair out.
Now we already pulled our hair out. It grows really fast.
Yeah.
Fortunate, yeah.
Yes.
This is a wig.
No wonder it looks so different. Okay, so interesting. So now, hold on, let me try one more thing. I'm changing it to 5th. We can award up to 5th place for the public voting. I want to see if that other one control.
Oh.
Hold on, one more place to do that.
See, with the virtual thing like this, I guess that could happen virtually too. With the awards, when they're doing their, the People's Choice, you could get a spectacular carving that the judges don't vote on at all. I don't know if you'd get that in this. You could, but the way it was set up, right now, the way it looks is that whoever voted on that first bird, if there's a tie, we don't know if it'll do that if there's more than one vote for a bird. You know what I mean? if you had 15, if the first bird that came in was the brand, and let's say I voted for it, I was the first one to vote in People's Choice.
Mm-hmm.
And then 15 people behind me vote on that. And then 15 people behind, or, whatever, during that time vote on another one. Will that one that I voted on first come up as the first place winner because it was the first one voted on? That one we don't know if that'll happen.
No. We would have to draw up some testing scenarios and deliberately follow a set testing scenario. I've written automated test scripts, so I know it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Trying to do everything, but like a base test, and where we agree, if we're going to do a public vote, that 3 of us vote for the same one and the other 2 vote for another one, or something like that, so that we try to prove what is what.
Or anticipate outcome.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to have to push, say, I'll be the first one to vote to see if that happens that way too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good idea.
What I just tried to do is add a 4th and a 5th place, which didn't work. Now, I don't know if it's because it needs to be set up from the very beginning and we've gone too far. And then I put the courageous badge, just like it's an HM, in 4th place, and then added it. And then I went to select 5th place, and I go to select the image, and I got the courageous one again, just like it would be an HM. And then I added it, and it doesn't show. And so I thought, gosh, did I do that wrong? So I did it again. I selected it, and I added it, and it still doesn't show. So now I'm going to, so I just got done writing that down. That's something that we should be able to see. Control R, trying to force it to show Leo's public voted, and it's not.
Yeah, I've refreshed the entire site, Cash.
And Jeff, you said you did vote for Leo's bird, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. And so I'm not going to send this off to him until we've tested again, because it could be because we made changes that were too far into the contest for the software to actually undo what we already asked it to do, which makes sense to me. And all right, now we kind of had this little bit of an agenda that Jeff and I quick talked about and didn't have time to send it off to Lori, so she doesn't see it yet. Sorry, Lori. We just thought it might be a good thing to make sure we cover everything. And we already recapped last week's meeting, talked about beta test 4 and the developer upgrades and the new things that are going to start in February 8th. And did you see in the email, Leo, that he's going to configure it so we can have video only contest?
Oh, okay. I didn't catch that part in the email, so.
Yeah, so we decided that would be worth paying for, having that, not just because of your possible need, but if you have it, there's going to be others. And we did want to we have videochampionships.com, so we should be able to ask for just video and not expect them to have photos too. So we did the public voting. We're going to end the contest. We had to kind of fudge that. Okay. Over the week, there was some concerns voiced about photos being hijacked. When we're requiring side views and top views and then exploited into patterns or books. And while I can see there's a concern for that always, the same thing could happen at any brick and mortar show.
Yep.
By anyone taking a picture. I lean over and take direct above photos of decoys all the time. And for good reason. I want to see what they look like from above because I can't see it because it's, you know, an arm's length away and my camera will reach that far and I can do that. So the same thing can happen off of a website. It can happen off of real photos that somebody took.
So is this a legitimate concern? Is this something we have to worry about?
We can't.
I don't think we can either. And
no, I don't think you can worry about it either. I mean, I know I read the thing. I read those comments and know what was being said. And to me, I understand, you know, it's that in some ways it's that it goes back to, for me, at least it goes back to that old thing about the copyright laws.
Right.
And you got where you have some of these, I've seen some pattern books that, you know, you buy this book, you're allowed to make 10 copies of it, of that pattern. And that's it. It's like, I paid for it.
How is it enforceable?
Yeah, how is it not? Yeah, you could trace it out on a piece of paper. Maybe they don't want to. I understand what they're trying to do. They're they made their book
profiting,
right? But you can't. I mean, if you look at most of these pattern books that are out there, you got certain ones that look different, but there's a lot of these birds that look the same. And
that's right.
It's the same kind of thing that I thought about years ago with when they said the contests, and I understand in the advanced contest, I know what they're trying to do, but let me unplug this goofy thing so I don't hear this. Oh, yeah, I gotta leave it on. It's my vet calling, so
okay.
Well, it's gonna go to message. So if you hear it, but like somebody does a bird casting,
right?
And most of the time they do these castings, they look like the bird's supposed to look like. Now, if somebody else does a carving, never took the class, never, you know, bought the casting, and does a bird that looks exactly the same because it's that kind of bird, how can they differentiate and say, well, you can't put it in a contest because that was a class? Every time, like I took a bunch of classes with Bob Googie. Every time he came up with a new casting, and it still happens today with Josh, they come up with a new casting. It doesn't matter if it's advanced, beginners, whatever, you see a lot of those type of carvings, those birds.
Right.
So you can't stop people from copying what's out there.
No. And, you know, you can do your due diligence, and sometimes there are carvings or artwork that are recognizable enough. I mean, to be truly plagiarized copies. I had something happen a couple of months ago that Lori mentioned in that thread where this loon artist stole a picture of my front-on loon picture and turned it into her artwork, and with stars and moon and all this stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And it was my loon. I got it to the exact same set and laid it right on top. And I emailed her and said, "This is your only warning. You know, take it all down." She was selling purses and all kinds of stuff with that image on it. And I told her, "You take it down," and she did. And she actually left the group that she was advertising it on. And so she won't do that again, I'm pretty sure. But here she chose a very recognizable
and I understand, and that can happen. And that can happen. Yep.
Right. So, but yeah, then it's my job to pursue it. And I did. And if I saw something of Lori's or anybody else's that was being plagiarized, I'd let them know. And
right.
Their job to do it.
I don't think it's up to us to police that.
No, and this is not the first time this conversation has been brought up about anything. Like, you know, it's like you cannot hold us to a greater expectation than the expectations you hold to the brick and mortar shows.
Exactly. I mean, the way I am viewing it is, we're doing this to promote the artwork or to promote the art form. Basically, we're doing this to keep the art form alive and keep it going. Otherwise, it's going to die if nothing happens. So, if someone does by chance create a pattern from one work, I would consider it either, you know, a compliment.
That's if somebody did that from mine,
they're just going to carve from it. That's wonderful. If they're going to carve a creature, but if they're going to go out and sell it, like what happened to Lori, if they're starting to make a business out of that, that's a different story.
That's a different story.
Going to happen.
Yep.
Could it?
Well, and
intermediate, I'm not going to worry about that.
Right. And intermediate, you know, novices and juniors, yeah, you know, we're going to expect them to use somebody else's pattern and in their entries. And this, when you're into intermediate level, that's when you need to start really thinking about, you know, making your own patterns and stepping out of the boat a little bit. But
at least altering.
No competitor should assume that the judges do not recognize the patterns that those that they're using.
And that's where it makes it tough, because, and I agree, but if you take a side view of a duck and a top view of a duck, it still looks like the same duck.
A duck is a duck, yeah.
So if you take a duck, you know, if I take a picture of a side view, you know, like you take Godin's book with all his patterns he has. The top views and the side views, if it's the duck, it's going to look the same.
Well, and I don't
know.
Now,
there is differences in the feather patterns and stuff like that. If you copy the feather pattern exactly like he has it, okay, well, that's a different story.
Now that's where it starts getting gray, and either you got to draw the line or not. So,
but that's up to the individual carver to go after, not us as a group.
Right.
Is it? Right?
I mean, what if I was a true competitor, and I am, but in the open level, world level, any level, there is no way I'm going to use anybody else's pattern, period. Now, in the traditional divisions, there are traditional decoy carvers out there who want to make a name for themselves. They want to have their own style of decoy. This is the way they do their decoys, and we see styles, and I'm so excited when I see someone's style evolving into their own. And in the traditional decoys, you see them all the time carving a decoy in the style of different master decoy carvers from years and years ago. And so there are traditional decoy carvers today creating patterns who probably want that kind of recognition for themselves, and I can understand that. But you know, when you put your decoys in a public venue, or any of your carvings or any of your artwork, you are subjecting yourself to the possibility of plagiarism, even if it's only, oh, that's a really great idea, I'm going to try carving a wave base out of butternut and putting bubbles and froth on it, and I had people copy that too. And so it's going to happen. But then then the people who are in the know are going to say, well, they just copied what Lori did 15, 20 years ago. So I don't know. I think
like
if you do it.
Like both of them, Lori, you've got, both of you guys have put books out.
Right.
There's people that are probably copying those books,
I expected to see
a bunch of loons and chicks.
A lot more loons, coming to the shows. Of course, the shows aren't there, but I think there's a lot of loons that are waiting to go to the shows.
I guess when you would get upset is when you would see like an advanced, intermediate or higher than that carver, open carver, putting that type of bird.
If they put my loon and chick with the, exactly that, yeah, I would. But everybody else would say, hey, you just copied Lori. I put the pattern out there so that people could try. And maybe, so maybe they show up with a miniature, same thing, because you could reduce that down. But, again, I don't know. I'd much rather be carving than chasing down people who are copying my patterns because I sell them.
Right.
I don't think it's an issue.
Okay.
What was brought up. I don't think the plagiarism deal, and I think we should move on. But I just wanted everybody to do hopefully everybody agree.
And anyway, if someone is that paranoid, they don't have to enter the competition.
That's exactly
what I felt. Yep.
Thank you.
What's the risk worth? So, All right. Excellent. Now, I added the entry fees to the homepage, so they're visible because we're coming up to the last week. We have to figure out how we can get the PDF downloadable from our website, Lori. I don't know if you know how to. Okay, good. So we need to get that once it's been updated. I'm still got some changes to make. Leo, you said your wife had some observations.
Yeah, I don't know how we can. I'm just going to show you. I don't know how I can make copies of this. And she said she was going to go over it. I didn't know if you were going to make changes to this from other conversations, like that were there about.
Pam's pointed out a few different changes that need to be made, clarifications. Yeah. I tried to clarify it when I set up this beta test 5. I clarified it better for the photo requirements, saying wide and high. And, no less than 2 megabytes, no more than 6, because that wasn't really in there like you had suggested, Pam. So there are some things that need to be tweaked on that. And, I don't know.
I guess I was talking about, it seemed like there was, sorry.
No. I was just going to ask Pam if she'd be willing to kind of take over the whole user guide thing.
It's probably practical if I'm going to do a quick reference guide from it.
Well,
I might as well.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Plus, I have the publisher file. Do you have publisher? I'm sure you do.
I've got publisher. I don't use it because I use Quark Express, but I can use publisher.
Okay, and I don't know if you can convert it to whatever you do use, but it's got the table of contents and the run-on text, and so it goes.
I think that would really be helpful.
It's actually very similar to the IWCA rules booklet. So I can send that to you via email, and that maybe I won't poke. Then we won't have so many hands in it too. I mean, Lori and I sometimes walk over each other.
If you have. I was going to say, if you have this in Publisher, do you want to send? If you want to send that to, I've got Publisher.
Okay.
If you want to send it in Publisher, and we can make the correction. See, I don't know if you can see this. This is what she did. So, like, if there was something there, she just put a little red mark. And there's several in the pages. The one thing I couldn't do is print it off like a booklet.
Yeah, I couldn't print it off like a booklet either. I actually printed it off as a single page
And actually, my wife liked it that way better. She says because it goes like from
was larger.
Yeah, she says it goes from page 1 to, you know, like on a double sheet. Yeah, I got a double sheet like this.
Same thing. Okay. Good.
It's got page 4 and page 21. And she says that's even better because it forces you not to read along the information's there, but looking at it as an individual word and what's going on with that page. So it's she says you can find the mistakes that way. So she likes it.
I've also heard that if you actually kind of read it backwards is another way.
She said that too.
See things, but you know, I'm so close to it.
Well, if I'm going to edit it, Leo, why don't you? Could you just scan it in?
Yeah. Well, that's what we wanted to know. How did you want it done? Do you want it scanned? I can send it to you.
Yeah, and if you could send it to Pam.
Okay. Now it probably will be mixed up because it's not going to be in order.
But the page numbers are there.
The page number will be there, so whatever the mistake is on that page number, right?
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Because I'll mark up mine from yours. I've got a couple of markups on mine, but because your wife was going to look at it, I sort of sat back and thought, well, I'll wait. And I'd more written a couple of questions on mine rather than.
Well, that's what she wanted to do. She said she's gonna, if you want, and she can do that this weekend. She'll look at it one more time, and she'll redo it. We'll make another copy and redo it so that it's more precise and stuff. Because it's scribbled, and I write for a different club. I do the fish magazine, so I always have her proofread it, and I know what I'm looking at. But when you don't, I know what she's doing, you know, so.
Publishing rules are that you should never proofread something you have set.
Right.
Because you see what you expect to see, not necessarily what's there. Mind you, that is difficult if, like me, at the moment, there's only me.
It's alone, yeah.
Yeah.
Quite often, I will proofread Wingspan, when I'm doing Wingspan, I will proofread it out loud.
Yep.
Because there's no one here. But then your ear hears something and thinks, hang on, that's not right.
It doesn't sound right, yeah. Well, Jeff's an excellent technical writer, so he's very good at changing, you know, sometimes I can get a little, you know, talky. He can condense it down. So, okay. Well, what I'm going to do is I think it's important for us to see if we can do a test 6 to see if we can eliminate the public vote. And then when it comes to the Ashley's award, that'll be the only one we actually use the public vote for, and we can turn off the judges voting. So I would assume, you would think that if we turned off the public vote, it wouldn't work. So that's what I'm going to test on setting up a new contest. And when I do, I can send you guys an email. I never hear from these guys before 9 a.m. my time on Monday. So they have pretty strict hours in their availability. So, and tomorrow, so we'll have all day tomorrow, and, you know, at your convenience. And Pam, I'll send you the publisher file. And there's the publisher file, and then there's the cover that is similar to the
cover's got a mistake on it.
The cover does? The cover page? Yeah, I'm sure.
Contact at Wildfowl Carving
Hey, Lori's.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but there is actually, for the rules booklet, for the IWCA, they have this, it's a different, it's not necessarily that we'd be doing that, but my point is that I want to have some history of us on the inside, which we don't have yet. And then this could be advertising, paid for advertising, and this could be paid for advertising. So with that in mind, I'm going to send you that cover file too. It's a publisher file too, and they just kind of go the same way.
I'll correct the error.
Okay, thank you. You know, it's hard when you're doing so many different things. Lori and I have both been juggling. I don't know how many calls we each have in the air.
Yeah. You're doing great. It's a lot of work.
I'll tell you what, Lori's the only reason I can do it at all what I'm doing, because I just wanted to mention
that you know, sometimes we get these we get bombarded with these texts and questions, just peppering with these questions, and on a kind of a negative Nancy note, which is fine because it makes us think and stuff. But I think it's a good strategy that we respond to these in a format like this, so that, you know, just say, hey, great idea, come to the meeting.
Yeah.
Express your concerns there rather than in a text format. This way, we can all think about it. We can all hear the same thing. We can all digest it the same way, rather than because text, things get lost. I mean, and sometimes our buttons get pushed. I am so guilty. Just the other day, I sent out an email at work. I was totally wrong, just because I didn't have my coffee yet, and I just got my buttons pushed, and I had to retract. I had to really write a heartfelt apology because I was upset, and it just happened. So to avoid that kind of stuff, I'm just recommending that we just say, okay, we'll take it under advisement, and let's please join us at the meeting on Saturday at 11 o'clock, and we can discuss it as a forum rather than being peppered individually by it.
Well, and the person who's asking the question shows up knowing everything they want to talk about, and we're kind of taken off guard, blindsided a little bit. So this way, you know, I don't want to say let's circle around to that, like we've been hearing from our White House press secretary, but
but everybody's doing a great job, and it's so easy to get caught up in this, and strong personality types have a way of pushing buttons.
Yeah, it's easy to criticize if, you know, you're not really active in talking about it, other than, like you said, texting.
Well, and I think that it's great that people bring up points and they ask the questions. That's why we are having these meetings. That's why we're recording them, so that people can go and see that couldn't attend. And for posterity.
It's also unfair. You guys have been working all day long on this, and then at the end of the day, you're getting nailed with this stuff, and it's so easy to come off on a wrong, you know, demeanor.
Right. And just because the person who asked the question doesn't show up and represent themselves in their question, doesn't mean we aren't going to discuss it. And so I make notes every time something gets brought up. I'll give them a thumbs up. Nice discussion points. Hopefully you can bring them to the meeting. If not, obviously we talked about what was asked about. So, and hopefully that'll be enough to address it. Those remarks that were made and answering questions. So,
but it's all appreciated.
Yeah,
really
it is. Is there anyone who has any other questions that I have forgotten? Anything?
Well, we can probably do it in beta 6. We've got to confirm whether the remove and add and update entry options are actually working.
Well, now that was one of those things that Sean said. That Sean said he was going to address on Monday. So
right.
And what I think is, and maybe it's not necessary to have you guys enter. Maybe it's only going to take one entry or even no entries for me to see if I can turn public voting off. Because if I can't, I want that addressed. We should be able to turn public voting on and have just regular judges voting too. So that I can get that request or whatever to Sean, so it's waiting for them on Monday. But then what I'll do is, he's really fast about when it's something that's wrong, he's really fast about taking care of it as fast as he can. When it's a new request for a new feature or something that we never asked for, you know, then he has to schedule us in. And he does put, I do believe, don't you think he gives us priority, Lori? So they're very excited about this too. I mean, this is their first, not their first day at the rodeo. It's just, this is the first development of this kind that they've had requested, and they're very excited to see how it's working out for us.
Probably the most complex software they've worked
and it
on.
Is owned by Virtual Championships, by not them. They can't sell it to anyone else. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when just real quick, when you set up this next one and you want us to vote, we're voting on, you're shutting off the public.
You won't be voting then. What you'll do is, what I'll do is I'll start the contest. I'll see if I can turn off public voting, and I'll just leave it up. And if I can, I can. Then I'll have you do your entries and see, you know, sometimes maybe public voting is screwing something up. You know, Lori, you know what I'm talking about. One feature can interfere with another feature that we don't realize it, and then we're jumping through hoops trying to fix something we can't fix. And we've been there several times with this plugin.
Well, you know, if that's the case, if you're going to shut off public voting, that would eliminate the whole tie thing.
That's right. Yeah, so I don't know. I tried to shut it off on this beta test 5, but I think we're too far along in the process to go backwards. So that's why I'm going to try beta test 6 and see if we can turn it off, and I'll let you guys know. And maybe if it turns off, and that's good, we hold off on entries until after Sean fixes those picture thing.
Yeah, because if it does, there's no reason to vote.
Results. Yep, we're going to have the same results, and there's no
we just enter our entries, and
if it doesn't turn off, then I'm going to have them get it to turn off so that we can, because I think that's actually it really kind of confuses things with the public vote. I think for people, and didn't you ask Pam what's the point of a public vote a couple of weeks ago in a meeting? I reviewed video, and I didn't hear it at the time, but I heard it when I reviewed the whole video, because I went in last week's 4-hour video and I edited out some swear words. I think I got them all. And, I don't know that I just edited out stuff that really didn't play a part in any of the public seeing it. And it wasn't embarrassing things, except for maybe behind the door. And Lori. So I edited it out so that there was also screenshots of our back end, and I didn't think that was a good idea to have too much information out there. So we're I'm going to go back to the first meetings that I had videos for and just review them and cut out anything that's too revealing, because I just we put too much into this to just we want to be transparent. We want people to follow along and see the progress that we make, but we don't have to give it all away, right?
Right.
So, and that'll be exciting if we can do only videos now too, for applications like Leo talked about, where you video the fish in the tank and how they swim and how beautiful they are.
Do you know how to turn off video requirement for the categories that don't have it?
Yes. In fact, there's an on and off, turn video link on and off. I haven't, maybe what I'll do is I'll set this next one up and I'll not turn on the video link, and I want to see how the entry form looks. If there's a place that's still there and if it makes it look like they're supposed to. I think I talked about this to Sean and wanted it to not be either typable or visible so that it didn't create confusion. So maybe it goes away. I'll check that. Get it right there.
Yeah, that would be a good one. I'm just thinking that the people I've got over this side of the pond are almost certainly, if they're going to enter non-video categories.
And we really haven't tested that yet. So, I mean, we did, I think we did before Sean got the video uploader thing set up. So I'm not really sure how that still works altogether. So.
Because I'm holding back from sharing it out until I'm sure I know what I'm talking about.
Well, the other thing,
I noticed another of my members was interested in this meeting, but I don't see her anywhere.
Okay. Okay. Well, it was really tempting when we got beta test 5 running the way it's supposed to run. Pretty much it's just a few tweaks that we're going to be doing. I was really tempted to share it as an example, and then I thought, well, what if somebody tries to enter it because they're a registered user and then they don't have the PayPal Sandbox account information, so then they get charged a fee.
Not yet. Gotta be patient.
Yeah. So, and then the other thing too was that some of your entries you might be entering into the real championships, and we don't want to put them out there before with your name on it. So I thought about that one later, Lori, after I pointed out the whole PayPal fee thing, because we were like, yay, yeah, let's do that. Finally, we get to show the world. No.
You can get to show the world from the 12th.
I know. It's getting exciting, and a breakdown.
I don't think there is anything wrong in saying to people, look, guys, this is the first time that this has been run,
right,
in anger, let's say, that's really been, there will be odd problems. Let us know, we'll sort them. Some people just expect miracles I had to laugh at the comment on the chat about, what we're going to do all the different species. And puddle ducks and diving ducks and geese and cormorants. Yeah, a big show, that's how it's done, but this is a virtual competition, for God's sake.
Well, it is, and there may be a point where there are enough entries in a single division of, say, 5 different wood ducks that would create a category, a species category. But that doesn't mean we need ribbons and all that. We would just have the judges judge them the way they judge every other show, and end up with, instead of awarding first in divers and first in puddle and first in competence and, you know, first in species, all of that, we're going to just award first, second, and third best of show. That's the best we can do this time. I don't know if, and maybe we'll be so deluged with so many entries, we'll go, oh my God, we should have, have to do this the next time around. And we'll deal with it this time around. And like you said, Pam, for us to think, you should have seen Lori and I the first time. It was like Christmas time in May or July or somewhere when we got our first upgrade. Oh, we were like little kids, and it was like, it was so anticlimactic. It was like, well, wait, it doesn't do this. It didn't. And he's like, well, you didn't ask me to do that. And that's when we started realizing we had to be really specific. So, it's very exciting now, and we've gone through so many different phases that it's fun to get to this point, and we're going to just expect
very close.
Yeah, something is going to happen. But the good thing is, when something big like this happens at a contest that goes on in a day or 3 days event, they only got those days to work it out. Well, we have more than a month. We have like 32 days to work it out. And we've encouraged everybody to enter earlier than later because there could be problems. We've, pointed that out. So hopefully they'll heed that warning. So.
Well, not many of them have signed up yet, have they?
No, when I have to say, when I did the master's class, there was a lot of people who told me that they weren't sure it was going to work. It wasn't going to, and so they didn't come. And they really wished that they had, because had they come, it would have been the difference. It was the tipping of the scales that didn't happen. I didn't care if I made them any money. I just wanted to break even, and that was the difference. So, lessons learned and but I think that we will have problems and we will work through them, and you have to expect it. And anyone who's not patient isn't recognizing the effort that has been put into this. I mean, it's been months and months and months. I started thinking about it in bed last night about all the Zoom meetings that Lori and I have, because I've recorded them all, our private meetings about all of this. And I started realizing I might be filling up my hard drive with all of these archives. And so I got to take a look at that. But, it's important to have these things. And it's the only way it's worked with the distance between us. And you guys.
I can believe there's a lot of work that has gone into this before I showed up.
Right.
And I can see, like you said, once this first one gets through, and you got to keep it as simple as possible and still make it interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Then going on from here, you could get, more detailed and more, whatever. gonna, like you say, like you keep saying, it's gonna probably cost more money to do that, and you got to weigh out, is it worth doing it? But if we want to do something like this, yeah, it would be, but it's gonna be an evolving thing. It's not gonna all happen like in one day.
Right, and this first one is going to prove the viability, and it's going to make the people who are the negative Nancys and the doubting Thomases, you know,
the negative
I should have
Nancys are
done
always
it the
negative.
first time. So what I'm going to do, or what I think we're going to do, and I say me because I'm the one who goes into the groups and changes the profile grid thing. So that's always been a really touchy area. You can't screw with it too much. So I'm going to go in, and I think what we should have are charter competitors, the ones who actually competed this first time around. Instead of the charter member thing, everybody's a member who joins, but it's the ones who, you know, stepped out of the boat, who took the chance and went to the effort to prove to the rest of the world that this could happen and really work. So I think that, you know, those are going to be the people who are going to be the charter competitors, and that's only this first time around. Don't you think that's a good idea?
Yeah.
Sounds sensible.
So I just think it's important to recognize everybody for any of their efforts, whether it's entering or testing or voting, even if they don't enter, because a registered member can come in and not enter and still vote. So we wouldn't necessarily have only the number of votes. Like you said, if we had another person with an IP address that was different, they could come in and change up that voting, which we're going to see in the real deal. So, well, actually, we're not going to see it if I can turn it up. Yes, Laurie?
Can somebody come in on a VPN or say Tor, which masks your IP? Can they come in and vote?
Well,
I was just kind of wondering if, like, Jeff could get on, you know, download the Tor browser and see if he can vote.
We might have to test that after we get beta 6 up. Okay. I'll write that one down.
It's a good idea. I didn't know there was something that could do that, but
yeah,
I do it all the time.
I'm not tech savvy enough.
Well, if you do it all the time, you should be able to come in on Tor, try to come in on Tor with the same IP address and see if it works for you. Right?
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's cool. No, I wrote that down anyway. Test IP masking. And I was going to ask. I was going to ask about the. Go ahead, Pam.
No, if there's two carvers living in the same house, is that going to stop them both entering?
We're still waiting to hear back on that one.
And that's what we're testing these browsers on. I use Tor so I can get British TV.
Right.
Okay.
I love British TV.
Okay. Well.
Sorry.
No,
you were saying something.
I was going to say something and I can't remember what it was. But that's okay. It couldn't have been that important. We were talking about, yeah, we're waiting. We're going to take a look at what's going on with the IPs, and we'll have to see how that gets handled with Sean. He's answering that in his next thing.
Right.
All right, I think that's everything.
I've got a question. It has to do with the contest. When you enter, and you're going into what you're entering as, as what was it, the masters, levels. Master level, apprentice level, open level, intermediate, novice.
Right.
This is always confusing for me because I've been carving a long time, but I stopped entering like years ago and then started again.
What did you stop? What level did you stop at?
I started novice.
Okay, and you stopped at novice?
I basically stopped at novice, and then I've entered a few things, but I didn't enter. I'll be honest, I don't think I entered intermediate. I entered a fish carving contest. This is not, we don't have fish here, but at Ohio, or not at Ohio, at Ohio, I entered a fish carving contest, and I won best of show.
Okay, and it was what level?
I'm pretty sure it was I think I entered it at novice.
Okay.
But I won everything.
Well,
they didn't do it. That's the question. They didn't do it. I'd have to look at the plaque, but I won the best, fish decoy at the show that year.
Well, that might apply to the fish carving championships, but now, it's not going to apply here.
Right, and since we're following ICWA rules, now the last year that we had the awards, I entered a cocktail bird. I got first in my division, plus I won third best in show.
And that level was what? It
was just the regular champion. That's what really confuses me.
It was an open. Was it at World?
It was at the World.
Okay, so the World
has got their own rules.
A champion division, which is anyone who's won World or a certain number of best in shows has to compete in the champion division. They can't compete in the regular division. So
and they're both named the same thing. That's what's confusing.
It is confusing, and but that's kind of like, it's an either or. It's like a master or apprentice, kind of like what we have for our traditional levels of decoy levels. So if the last place you won anything in was novice, then you could, let's say legally, enter into novice here. And what happens is you're going to do really well, and you're only going to be able to be, you'll end up, maybe you win 2 best in shows, and then you're pushed up. So we'll follow the IWCA rules when it comes to that. And for both the novices and the juniors, they choose to go into their novice level.
And it's not just for our show here. It's just, this is for just my general knowledge. I don't really, I was at the point where I don't think I'm a novice anymore.
No,
do I move up and go somewhere else?
I'm seeing.
Right, but do I want to, I'm not sure where to go.
It's the honor system, I think. I think it is the honor system.
It is the honor system. I just got pushed up by one show. I went from one show to the next show, going from novice to intermediate, and then the next show I wasn't there, but the same piece won best in show, and now I've got all these best in shows from one single piece, same piece, and that pushed me up into open, from novice to open in 3 shows. So it can happen really fast. And you know what?
Oh, yeah.
I said that to Bob. He says, yeah, well, you didn't belong in novice and you didn't belong in intermediate.
And that's fine. That's what I figured I would probably enter. I was thinking I'd enter intermediate. So that's because I don't think I belong in novice.
Right. And, there is some carvers have no shame. Let's put it that way. And they are ribbon, they're just fine. Yeah, the ribbon hunters. All they want are the ribbons, and they won't move up until they're absolutely forced to, and then a lot of times they won't compete anymore. because they just don't want. Go ahead, Lori.
Well, I don't know. We had a discussion. I don't know if it was just between you and me or if it was between all of us. That if a judge, and they could do this in the regular shows too, if a judge sees something that shouldn't be in the novice category and should, really can compete in the category above, that they have the right to move that.
Well, I guess
I don't know if it's within our software to do that.
We wouldn't be able to do. Then there's the entry fees that apparently they don't consider when they move someone from one level to another, because usually it's a higher priced entry fee. Then they're not going to chase the carver down. So no, I think that we just have to go with
honor system.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's for me. It was just it wasn't necessary for. It was not necessary. This was a question not necessary for just our show. It was for anything I enter now. I wasn't really. I look at these rules and I'm not sure. It's like
there were
didn't know where to go.
There were people who waited at the Masters Class Championships. They waited until the very end, just before the very end of entries closing. And they had pieces that they could have gone from novice to intermediate or intermediate to open. And there was money in open. And it was worth them, because a division was empty, to move themselves up to open just to win the money. So they were stuck in that division.
Yeah, so they're stuck.
I'm sorry, that level from now on. But people will do that. They will wait till the very last minute. And I kind of hope they have trouble with their entry if they do that, because, and actually our contest is set up so that wouldn't really work, because if the fewer the entries, if there's only one entry, you just gave us 20% of your entry fee, period. You won. Yay, you get your money back, plus 20%. So, and you get the accolades, but it's only going to happen once for these people who want to do this, and we're going to recognize it in the making. Being experienced judge, working the shows, Pam and me have worked a lot of shows. Yeah. Even Jeff's worked the San Diego show, being a bird runner. And so, we see that kind of stuff happening. And, now we might have people who enter into the wrong division. And thank goodness, I think that it's set up so that I have to go back to our forever email from Sean and Jake and find the area where he said that if an entry was deleted, their money would be refunded if it was before the contest ended. So that we do have, I did say that if you enter a contest and you're a novice and an intermediate and you want your points for IWCA Decorative Carver of the Year, and you didn't pay your membership before you made your entry, then you weren't an official member until that time, then your entry is not going to be valid. But the IWCA is not taking entry fees. I'm sorry, they're not taking membership fees for this year. If you send in your membership fee, what happens is it gets applied to the following year because of COVID. You guys
I don't know if you know, can you contact the IWCA and find out what you've entered at? What level? I can't remember if I entered at an intermediate at some point or a novice.
You can ask me. Hold on. I can tell you that in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail.
Some of my members often ask me, what am I supposed to be competing at? But every year, straight after the show, I've got a spreadsheet and I will go through the results of the show and update my spreadsheet. So if they are now due to move up you know, from novice to intermediate, I will have marked it. So then when the next year's show comes around, I get a phone call, Pam, what am I supposed to be entering at? Hang on a minute, spreadsheet, you're entering at. People forget.
Yes. Okay, I had to resort my list here. All right, Leo. You are the last thing. You're in novice.
Okay.
Yep. And you became a member in '89 for life. So that's cool, huh? Are you in Michigan?
I became a member, but I became a member. Oh, I started a membership in '89, but I didn't sign my
a lifetime member right away. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't right away. I did that. Was it a couple years ago?
So yeah, you're on the IWCA roster right now as a novice.
A novice. Yeah. Okay, so I can enter novice, and whatever happens, happens.
And you might as well let it move you up. And there's no shame in that at all. It's the ones who are just hanging out.
I don't feel any shame. That's the one. You know, it's like I've been carving. You know, people ask how long you've been carving. I've been carving since '78.
Longer than me.
And I entered a few carvings here in Michigan when they had the Midwest, you know, and I entered in like Racine and entered the. I've only entered the world.
You must have gone to the Point.
Yeah, I was in Moulier a couple of times. I judged at Moulier one time.
Okay, and Livonia.
Yeah, I entered Livonia.
That was the North American.
I didn't do the North American. I didn't do it. You know, I just stopped. And because I wasn't chasing ribbons, I had people that wanted to buy some carvings, so I was making carvings to sell.
Yep.
But that to me, I always tell my wife, I said that was the worst thing I did. I should have kept competing, because that's how people get to know who you are.
That's true. That is true.
Some people know who I am, but a lot don't.
Right. Well, you do beautiful work, and you're going to do well in the competition.
We'll see if I can get something done. I'm working on something that I've worked on. It's been sitting there and it's not finished. Still not finished.
Wow.
Because all the stuff that I finished.
Well, and here we're taking you away from your working time.
Oh, that's okay. If I, like that said, if I don't enter anything, I'm here to help get this thing going and whatever I can do. Okay. You know, now and during the contest time, you know, whatever you need done.
Right. Okay. Well, I have a feeling that, you know, we're going to get all of these contests all set up. They're going to take off at midnight on the 12th or 9 a.m. or whatever time we decide. And there's going to be some having to go back and forth. And maybe, you know, maybe the title's wrong. You know, there's typo in this. Or maybe, you know, there's going to be just little things. The big thing is that the short code's going to be right. And the contest is going to be set up right. So working on that, those logistics, but it's going to be a big push once. And I'm going to have to ask Sean, if we set up contests, is what he's changing going to mean we have to reset those contests up? And if it doesn't, because I think it's more superficial than it is, you know, really deep stuff, I think that we'll be able to start setting up the contests. If not, but I am going to ask that question so that we can maybe get started on Monday. How's that sound, Lori? Oh, and the ribbons. How are you doing on the ribbons?
Making progress.
Did you figure out, are you going to be able to make the ribbons small enough on the profile page after they've been awarded?
I am going to make them full height, if you don't mind, if I can. They're just pulling a square thumbnail that WordPress generates automatically.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure I can change it to what we want. Or it's in Sean's software that it defaults to the WordPress thumbnail, so I'll have to find a way around it. But I'd like to show the entire ribbon instead of,
but the ribbon's pretty huge, don't you think?
Well, it is, and when we hover, it goes great big. What size you want them?
Well, I was just thinking if they were small enough to fit into the whatever height the thumbnail of the, you know, when you're on the award page, like say Pam's got, I think you even have one. Part of the ribbon's not showing.
Yeah, I know.
So if we could make it so it was that size of an image, but all of the ribbon was showing, then when we hovered over it, it would make the big one like we have already. I like that.
Well, it's a 150 by 150, so it's a WordPress default.
Okay, so that's because, so that's why.
That's why it's getting cut off.
Yeah, because it's making a square out of what's really a rectangular photo or image, I should say.
Yeah, and if it's tiny, like 150, we're like, you know, if I could fit the whole thing into 150, you're never going to be able to read it.
Well,
I mean, I'm hovering
you
now.
don't need to read it until you hover on it, I was thinking. So what happens when we get, somebody gets, you know, 30 ribbons? No, let's just guess that somebody's going to do that.
Yeah, let's reduce the size so that they fit on there, and then when you hover over it, you get to see the image.
Well, that means that they have to be the size that they are now. Okay. My size, so that when you hover, they do enlarge.
Yeah.
You can't like make, you know, teeny one.
Can you do that? Can you make that happen?
Yeah, but when you hover, it's not going to change it.
Oh.
When you click, it would?
I like that feature.
What do you mean it's not going to change it? I'm sorry.
Well, this is WordPress automatically creates sizes of thumbnails, several sizes, 4, I think.
Yeah, they changed the name of each of the original file to, you know,
thumbnail, small, medium, large, original.
Yeah, right. I mean, if the icon is
something you can work out.
If the image is, you know, this much taller and this much, wouldn't you be able to use a smaller square? Even though, is it calling for square? I mean,
yeah, that thumbnail is always going to be square, and it defaults to 150 by 150.
So if it were,
I mean, I can make the ribbon fit in that little 150 by 150 space, but if you hover over it, it's just going to bring up a bigger 150 by 150 ribbon that's going to be pixelated.
Oh, okay. All right, I understand what you're saying now. All right.
Then we leave it the way it is.
Yeah. Then
well, no, I can see if I can adjust through CSS. I can see if I can adjust that.
Okay.
Default.
That would be good.
And if not, there's a plugin that does that. But you know, too many. And I don't want to mess with that.
Go ahead, Pam.
Can the thumbnail be a different picture to small, medium? So why not make the thumbnail just the rosette, just the center?
Because they're using the same image to make both the thumbnail and the big picture. So it's just, But
because that's basically
it's a square. It would be square, which is kind of why I added the Courageous badge to 4th and 5th and beta 5s just to see if it would take it. Didn't matter which I used, but it was going to be square, and I thought it would be interesting to see if the whole badge showed.
You know, even if part of the badge doesn't show, I don't think that's the end of the world, and that's minor potatoes right now.
No, the thing is, it shows 1st, 2nd, or 3rd.
Right.
Yeah, I like that.
The thumbnail.
Right.
And when you hover over it, it then shows the full ribbon.
Yeah.
Right.
I personally don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No,
I don't think so either.
I think we move on.
Okay. Well, sorry about
That's
that.
height and length auto. I think I can change that. Let me do something right quick, okay?
Okay.
Well, okay.
No, this won't take long. You won't be able to see it on yours. Never mind.
Okay.
I'm doing it by web developer. I got a little web developer thing on my browser. So you wouldn't be able to see it anyway. So.
Well, it's not like the end of the world. Okay.
No.
Right now on the winners page, those ribbons are above and the name is in between the ribbon and the winning main photo. When Sean's done, this is going to link to her profile, her Pam Wilson. I don't know if it'll be the ribbon or just her name or what, but you're going to have a link back to your profile now. And so when you go to the profile,
should be all three.
What
ribbon, Pam, picture.
Well,
I've got quite a lot.
I'm sorry,
quite a lot of ribbons on my profile page now.
Okay.
You're going to have to clear them off.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I wonder how, I don't think they clear off when I delete an entry.
We may just, we could just, Leo and I could just redo our profiles, couldn't we? We could.
Well, that's true. That is true. I'm looking I'm going to yours, Pam, and I'm going to look at your awards. Boy, you got a lot.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I don't think we should mess with the sizes. That's okay. I mean, yeah. What do you think, Lori?
But these are all.
I'm working something right now. See what we can do.
I think, the size you have it enlarging to is perfect because we can see, she's got new text on each one of these ribbons saying the year and the division and your level. So,
yeah.
Except for, okay. It's not the open, I suppose it is the open division.
I can do it. I can do it.
You can.
Mm-hmm. I'm on the winners page, not Pam, not the individual page.
All right.
Because I think we want all those square on the individual page just for, it just looks nice.
Okay.
But on the winners page, yeah, I can enlarge that photo to its, whatever we want, whatever a ratio we want. So.
Okay.
In fact, I'm going to go see what I can do right here with the ratio instead of the pixel length.
So when it says here, I wonder if it says open division when it's really open level.
You were telling me divisions.
I probably did.
I ain't changing the level.
No, that's every ribbon, Lori, right?
Yeah, it is, but I gotta stay busy.
It's technical, but it's
okay.
True. If it was me, and it probably was me, somebody might point that out. What do you mean it's open division?
Open level. I can change it. It's no problem. In fact, it would probably be better.
More room.
More room.
Is that why?
Yep.
It would be better? Okay. Sorry about that.
That's good. No problem. That's what I'm here for.
I know, and you're so good at it. All right. I don't know that there's much else except for what we've already said. I'm going to do the beta test, see if I can eliminate public vote. When I add ribbons, I can't see further than the 4th ribbon that's been added for a prize award.
Are we going to do honorable mentions?
Yeah, we are going to do honorable mentions to just the juniors, novices, and intermediates.
Ah, okay. So we'll have to have Sean program that in.
Program that in for what?
Or, well, to show honorable mention, or it would show 4th place.
Well, he actually has it so that we could award 100th place. It's a drop down.
Right, but there's no thing in there's that
there's no place for him. There's no image placeholder to show what ribbon was selected for 4th, 5th, or anything beyond 4. I mean, it shows up to 4th. It doesn't show 5th or anything beyond that. So
yeah, it'll show 4th instead of calling it honorable mention. It'll show 4th with the honorable mention ribbon.
Right. It doesn't. Oh, I wonder if it'll say 4th place.
Of course it will.
I see what you're saying.
I thought I'd read that it was 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Well, and that's what we've always set it up for. We were tinkering with HM, but maybe we don't do HM, Lori. Because, number one,
you're too close to start
doing
extras.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can do it next time.
Loads and loads of entries and everything. Fine. Next time you can have honorable mentions, but you're going to have 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Right. Now I'm going to go into the leads and the entries and look at our contest. Sandbox 5. And I am going to, we have seven participants, and 1, 2, 3 are Pam's, 2 are Leo's, 1 is Lori's, and 1 is mine. Now, I was declared a winner, and I want to know how I can get rid of that ribbon. What is this? Declare winner. Delete. So if I'm gonna try to declare Leo is the winner on a piece that he didn't win with. No, I'm gonna do it for Lori because hers is less confusing. And see what happens here. Are you sure you want to declare this person the winner of this contest? If your contest is still running, this will end your contest immediately and begin any winner automations you have set in place. I'm not going to do that. That answered that question. So what I want to know is what happens if a ribbon is awarded to somebody like we have now, and they're old contests that were test contests. How do we get rid of those ribbons?
Because mine, I have 2 ribbons, but they're both for the judges contest.
Right. Lori, do you know how we would get rid of those ribbons?
It's in the software. We'd have to have Sean.
Okay. No way to delete ribbons or awards.
Because remember the other time we tried to delete something, we deleted a whole profile.
Right.
So I'm afraid that will happen too.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no way to delete ribbons.
Or, you know, Sean, there might be a way and we just forgot to ask and they forgot to tell us.
Well, and some of the things he turns on and off too. So no, okay, so there was that, and we wanted to know, I want to know if we cancel somebody's entry, if their money gets refunded automatically in PayPal. Okay. All right. Yeah, because I can delete an entry and we can delete a user, but we can't delete a ribbon from what I can see here. So.
Yeah, because that's part of a user group.
Okay, yes, it is somehow. Okay. Well, anything else, everybody?
I don't think so at the moment.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and I'll
Lori, thank you for fixing that ribbon deal.
Yeah, thank you, Lori.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, and can't see anything else that we need to talk about. So I will
Leo, you'll get that.
Keep it posted.
Leo, you'll send that.
I will send that
the red lines to
yeah,
Pam.
once we're gonna do it one more time just to make sure we got it straightened out, and so she can understand it, and then I'll send it to you, Pam.
Okay, and I'll send you the 2 pub files.
Thank you, Pam.
To Pam. Yeah. Thank you so much for taking that on. Really, really appreciate it. I know you're good at that. So
great meeting today, people.
You've got quite a lot to do, so
thank you so much for knowing that. Lori and I are going to be like, oh. Anyway.
Yeah, well, I've been down this road many times. I had a stroke, not a bad stroke, and I was still writing electronic scripts for the testing from home.
Oh my gosh.
The project manager rang me up and he said, "Hello, Pam, how are you?" And I thought, you don't care how I am. I was waiting. And then he said, when are you going to be well enough to come back? I thought,
Yeah.
But yeah, I was actually still writing those scripts. I think part of those scripts and a lot of other things actually caused the stroke in the first place, because I had it at work. Not that I realised at the time, but hey. Yeah, I know how long it takes, how many times you think you got it right, or you make this tiny change.
You know, and things like this, it's always the last 20% that takes most of the effort.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because you can get it right when you're just testing it, but then you put it out to a wider audience.
Exactly.
And if they can do anything wrong, they will. Which is why I've been doing odd things, not just the sort of thing that someone could well do.
Me too.
Like, I mean, that last on Beta 5, when I accidentally selected 9 picture files. So they come up, but of course it stopped once it had got the 8. That's right. And then I finally did find this little bit of writing that almost went off the screen in the entry form that said, you've come to the maximum number. So then I looked down and I thought, oh no, I didn't want that one. But that was then when I found, okay, so remove. It removed. Good. I added the missing one. It added. I renamed it. But it hadn't actually removed
the one you wanted it
to. The one that was there. Yeah. And I want to see if that is going to work.
Okay.
Because people will do that.
Yep.
And if they can't then get the right thing, they're going to be coming, you're going to be getting emails and saying, hey, I've got the wrong pictures.
Right.
It's not working.
And I want to know why OneTooth when I enter my photos why I get 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7?
Yeah.
Well, that was what Sean was going to address on Monday.
Yeah.
Was the numbering.
Hopefully that will be fixed.
Hopefully that'll.
Because the next time I entered, I got 2, 3, 4, 5.
Disturbing.
Yeah.
That's so frustrating.
I got starting with 2, and a couple didn't have it. And
but
then
I think that's going to be just a tweak. I don't think it's a big issue. No. Hopefully.
No. In truth, if you didn't see it on the screen, you wouldn't worry about it because you wouldn't be expecting it to number the files.
Exactly.
Anyway.
You don't know what you're missing. Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyhow, is there anything else?
Nope. Not me. Okay.
Not me.
Not me.
Thank you all so much, and have a wonderful rest of your day and weekend. Love your hair, Laurie.
Thank you.
Very cool. Okay, you guys take care, and thanks again.
Yep.
All right.
You too.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.